Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. It is another edition of In This Very Ring, right here on A2D Radio. We are recording this. It is Monday, March 10th. Raw just went off the air a little bit ago. And when you're seeing this, it's Tuesday morning, March 11th. So happy March 11th to you. And I love when we sit down and we talk about these things, right? Oh, screw it. I'm sorry. I'm so off kilter today, because I won't lie, the ending of Monday Night Raw got me really excited. And there are little points throughout Monday Night Raw that got me really excited for WrestleMania.
I did not leave the TV until it was completely over, and I had to go to the restroom really, really bad.
Yeah. So, but first, that is the Maritosi town. That is the one they call butter. I am the best there is, the best there was, the best there ever will be. They call me Ritz. It is In This Very Ring. It's A2D Radio. All right, we got all that out of the way. The formalities, I don't do sponsor reads anymore because we're recorded. We don't do any of the normal stuff we used to do. So, literally, it just show up and talk, and I forget half the time, we actually have to be like, hey, I'm so-and-so, he's so-and-so, right? Yada, yada, yada. But, Monday Night Raw ended. You had the steel cage match between Seth Rollins and CM Punk, which, by the way, these two, I know there's real life animosity there, but by God, they put on banger after banger after banger after banger. Everything they do together, the storytelling is beautiful, the natural chemistry they have in the ring, right? And I don't know if there's still real life animosity, but there once was, and it shows. Yes. Right? You see it in the ring. And they are truly at the top of their craft. The Raw debut on Netflix, that was phenomenal. Their moments they had together in the Rumble and Elimination Chamber, respectively, those were phenomenal. And then this match tonight was so well done. And I love that commentary kept bringing up, no one's tried to make a pinfall. No one's tried to make a submission. There weren't false finish after false finish after false finish. Right?
They were wanting to beat the snot out of each other and keep going. They did not want to leave the ring.
Exactly. This would ultimately end up with, they tease the door being open and, come past me and, get out of the ring, which I thought were interesting spots. They were really cool. I didn't like that when the camera would cut to Rollins and Punk respectively, they were flipping the other off and the camera blacked out on that. I didn't like that. You're on Netflix.
Netflix, for some reason, the Netflix uppers don't like that.
But if you think about it, there's worse stuff on your programming.
Yep.
Right? And this is also the same company that let them say fuck on Peacock 2 weeks ago. So, and didn't bleep it out of their social medias it's following. So I thought that was a really weird play. I thought that was a really weird.
Honestly, I thought they were having network issues because they were blacking out even other stuff. I'm like, what are we having issues for?
Yeah, I didn't. The only thing I missed the Rey Mysterio, the LWO versus the New Day match. I missed that entire segment completely. Just because I just walked in the door and had to do things when I got home.
I missed a handful myself.
But regardless, this match was phenomenal. This would lead up to Rollins. The door's open. Rollins is leaning on the ropes, right at the door, and you hear the crowd start popping off, and you almost see the way they have the camera shot. You can kind of see somebody sneak by, and then you see Rollins getting dragged out of the cage. It's Roman Reigns. He's made his return. First time we've seen him since the Royal Rumble, and he lays out Seth Rollins. He is stopped, and I love that he did the stomp to Rollins.
Yes.
Right? I loved that we included that in there, and they made it a point.
Screaming and yelling, you trying to take me out? You trying to take me out?
Right. And Roman would stop before he could stomp Rollins' head into the steel steps.
And yeah, eat steel.
Yeah, and then he saw the wise man in with CM Punk. He got annoyed, went in there and bounced Punk up and off the steel cage before laying him out with a spear. And it was really interesting because where originally we were all kind of wondering, like, what's this favor that Punk has of Roman Reigns?
Mm-hmm.
Going to lead to Punk with a title match at WrestleMania. What does this mean necessarily? And now we see them kind of building to where, weirdly, you're going to have a triple threat match. Punk versus Roman versus Rollins. And this will be the first time in probably 5 years, if not longer, that Roman has had a match at WrestleMania with nothing at stake, no title on the line, no, like last year, yeah, they had the tag match, but there were stakes to that match, right? Yep. If they win, it was bloodline rules, and so these different little things throughout.
As of right now that we know of, it's just going to be a triple threat, beat the hell out of each other style match.
Right. So it's shaping up to not have a stipulation, which is going to be unique and interesting. And I want to get your take, right? Knowing what all three of these men can do, and asking if it is going to be a great match is a silly question. Because
that's a dumb question.
Yeah, that's a you question. By all accounts, is this what you would do with the three men here? Would you one, I guess you could frame this a couple of different ways. One, would you frame this in a way where you rewrite history, right? Does somebody else win the Elimination Chamber? Does Cena not turn heel, right? How do you rewrite things literally at the end of the Royal Rumble? Does somebody else win the Royal Rumble instead of main event Jey Uso? Or is this exactly where the three men should be going into WrestleMania 41?
I think this is where they should be going into 41. They should be in a triple threat against each other. They should be, taking the animosity, because they all three have animosity. Roman doesn't like Punk because Punk still owed the favor. Rollins doesn't like Punk because, well, we just know they don't like each other, period. Punk could care less about either one of them.
Mm-hmm.
They have nothing to do as of right now, whether it becomes a title opportunity or, a spot for a title. It gives them something to do without actually forcing them into a match. This is the 1 year where none of them are going for a title, where none of them, the title's not on the line with these three. You've seen them in the main event so much, minus Punk, because he hasn't had his main event.
Right.
But you've seen Rollins and Roman Reigns time after time in the main event of WrestleMania, that it's like, it's good to see something like this just take a back seat. Let them do their thing, and let's watch these other main events with new talent, try to build these new talents as, future, what's the word I'm looking for?
Hall of Famers?
Future faces of the company.
Oh, you're talking about the new talent.
Yes.
So I get where you're coming from, right? And I like the idea of, I loved what you said, taking a back seat, right? I think that's such a pivotal line to say, because here are three men that revolutionized the industry for collectively, right, 15 plus years, almost 20 years between them. When you think about when Punk made his debut to when Rollins and Reigns and Ambrose made their debut, and what everybody has done since, the majority of that being Rollins and Reigns, right? I definitely think it's interesting to watch them now take that back seat and let the young guns, let the up and comers have the spotlight, but then they still have this opportunity because, yeah, main event Jey Uso versus Gunther. Yeah, it's gonna be a great match. Cody versus John, it's gonna be a great match, right?
Mm-hmm.
But here you have literally 3 cornerstones of the industry brawling it out and showing everybody, hey, this is how you put on a WrestleMania worthy match.
Yep.
It's gonna be a clinic of a match. It's gonna be, and if they go that route, right? They very well could possibly not go that route. But when I think about what you have slated for WrestleMania 41 so far,
Mm-hmm.
I think you need a heavy hitting match like this on the card somewhere. Because
I mean, this very well could be a main event, put in the main event slot. It could be put in the opener, and then everybody has to follow this banger of a match that we know is going to happen.
Right, which would be insane if they put it in the opener.
Mm-hmm.
Insane. But it will absolutely be a masterclass on how to do this and what the sport should look like.
Yep.
Would I go and change anything though? I don't know. I because you then take away that opportunity from Jay.
Mm-hmm.
The John Cena turn doesn't happen. Ask me again next week if I would change anything, because John Cena's going to be in Brussels, which, God, that's going to suck trying to watch that show 2:00 in the afternoon on a Monday.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm not doing anything. Absolutely not. Yeah, I got 3 hours to spare on a Monday afternoon at 2.
I think they said what, the next 3 Raws or the
next 3 weeks? Yeah, half of your build to WrestleMania now you're doing overseas in the middle of the day. Damn it. Thankfully, though, it's on Netflix, and supposedly you can watch it back immediately and whatever. So if I do get caught up, I'll be able to come home and watch it like a normal human being. Just won't watch it live. It's stupid. I'm sorry. It's dumb. And I get it. The people overseas deal with it every single week. I understand it.
My thing is this. At least it's Netflix, and to your point, you can automatically watch it back right afterwards instead of whereas Hulu, you had to wait till the next damn day.
Correct. And it would make this job really suck.
Or usually Hulu, they taped it and you just had to watch it live that night per se.
Correct.
Which it is going to be kind of odd that, a Raw during the middle of the day. Used to pay-per-views I could understand when we watched.
Well, because they were Saturdays.
Yeah.
Right? Granted, some of us are still busy Saturday afternoon, but the majority of your fan base probably has the day off. I digress.
Yep.
Because I don't put me on a soapbox for this. But ask me if I would change anything, especially this John Cena heel turn. Because while I loved it at Elimination Chamber, I haven't loved the fact that Cody has come out now on 3 separate occasions. I think.
Twice. SmackDown and Raw. That's the only ones I couldn't think of.
I thought there was another gap between there. I mathed the weeks wrong. Because he didn't come out on Monday Night Raw.
Last week, no. He came.
Michael
Cole mentioned he was coming out on Friday. He came out on Friday, did his thing.
And I know that. I for some reason got my times wrong. Either way, you've had Cody come out twice now.
Mm-hmm.
You'll probably parade him out on Friday again. So by the time you put them under one roof, Cody's come out 3 times, potentially 3 times. And John is going to hopefully give us some answers. I say hopefully because I need some. John, you have to talk.
You have to say something
for this feud to work. if you're not going to come out and beat the brakes off of him every other week, like Gunther's doing to Jay,
Mm-hmm.
and Cody's not wrestling because Travis Scott injured him, for this to work, for this to really pop off well, you have to open your mouth.
You know, and I had
you
this
have to
feeling.
you just have to nuke everybody.
I know they said they're going to have them under the same roof, but I feel like they're going to have somebody be a pre-recorded under the same roof BS.
No, I don't think so.
You don't think so?
No. I don't think so. I realistically don't think so.
You think they want John Cena to come out with some new music and get the booze?
You have to. You absolutely have to.
Hope he gets the Dom heat, but I doubt it.
I think you will, but you also have people that'll cheer the fact that he is a heel.
Yep.
So it's going to be a really mixed crowd, and it's going to be interesting to see, though, what happens when he comes out. Because if he comes out and he just absolutely obliterates the fans and the talent and the producers, and even go as far as be rude to Stu, and like
that's what I was thinking.
All these little nuanced heel things, right? You could probably sell this, but in my opinion, he doesn't need to say much, right? But next week, I think, is crucial for how this story is going to go.
Because we're only, 3-4 weeks out? No, I'm
sorry.
By
the time next week happens, it'll be 5 weeks.
5 weeks,
We're
okay.
6 weeks out right now, because it was 40 days from today.
Okay, yeah.
So 5 weeks on Saturday.
Crazy. Easter Saturday. Weekend. Crazy.
It's usually around that time. I'll take it because this year it doesn't coincide with the cook-off, so I can do both. Well, that's how I missed Cody's entrance, right? Cody's debut.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm still not salty about that at all.
No, not at all.
Not at all. And we weren't even live for it that night. We were live the next night when nothing happened. Again, not salty about that either. But
yeah,
you have to do something here.
You got to do something big.
Because if you don't, right, then I'm going to look at these three guys and go, man, could I have written a better story with one of these three guys versus Cody Rhodes?
The only thing I ask next week is that he does not bring Travis Scott anywhere near that ring.
I don't think he will.
He's a part of the storyline thing now, but just no.
I only think we see Travis Scott when The Rock's there, because I don't think anybody wants to put up with Travis Scott.
I hope so.
Right? Especially if Cena's going to be doing some of the things that he's going to be doing, or that I think he could be doing. I don't think it works with having Travis Scott there.
Good. I just didn't like the fact that he was in the whole thing to begin with, regardless of before he even injured Cody. It's like...
And supposedly, let me see, John Cena's appearances 2025. I was reading somewhere. I think Cena's on the whole tour. The whole European tour.
He might be.
So he's in Brussels on the 17th.
Mm-hmm.
The Hydro on the 24th. And London on the 31st. So yeah, he's on for the next 3 weeks. So hopefully
you would have to have him do that, because it's his final tour. They're not going to go overseas again later in the year, except for the pay-per-view.
Correct.
So yeah, you make this your last leg.
All right. So hold on. Let's see. And then supposedly, based on what is confirmed, and some things vary on different reports. After the 31st, we won't see him till WrestleMania. So there will be 2 weeks before we see him again.
Oh.
Right? Which I could potentially be okay with, depending on what he does these next 3 weeks.
Yeah, I could, yeah.
And this is just what's been confirmed.
He may make it pop up and make it a quick appearance on a SmackDown or something before WrestleMania.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's possible. I'm not going to get my hopes up.
We'll see what happens. We'll definitely see what happens.
We still got 5 weeks. If it happens, it happens.
And he's going to be around for 3. You can do a lot in 3 weeks on Monday Night Raw.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
They could have a lot of different points of the show be about John Cena without taking away from the show as a whole.
Now, I take it SmackDown's not in Europe, right? Just Raw?
I think it's just Raw.
Because I'm trying to figure out why we're having the SmackDown people on Raw, but then if Raw is if it's just Raw in the UK, then okay, I can get that. I can feel it.
Let me see. Friday night SmackDown. Oh, they're in so they're in Europe too. So they're in Barcelona on the 14th, Italy on the 21st, and then London on the 28th.
So do you have him do Raw and SmackDown, or you just have him do Raw only?
I think you have him do Raw only.
Just makes no sense because they're both on SmackDown right now.
Yeah, but they want Cody on Raw. Netflix wants Cody on Raw. And I think they want the Cena, because last year SmackDown got a lot of the build for Roman, Rock, Cody, Seth. Got a lot of the build because that's where The Rock made more appearances, was on SmackDown.
Because that's where Cody and Roman were.
But I think this year Netflix said, no, if you're going to do that, we want it.
No, I get it.
Right? So there's probably some politicking there with the companies or whatever. But
I like I said, dumb, but I get it.
Yeah.
You know, you got this big deal with Netflix. Why not keep them happy? Especially since you get a lot of wiggle room.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I want to ask.
Uh-oh. No, just kidding.
Did you see the Rhea Bianca Io segment?
You mean the segment where Io grew a set and
I didn't like it.
Why?
I didn't like the fact that they brushed Io off, right?
Mm-hmm.
I didn't like the fact that Io felt the need to inject herself in that, right? Because neither one of them said a disparaging thing about Io.
No, they just kept pushing her around.
But they both put her over, if you think about it, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, Bianca saying, you can't beat Io, right? And then Rhea saying something, I don't remember what she said, but she didn't say anything mean about Io either.
Correct.
So if I'm Io, if I'm the world champion, right?
Mm-hmm.
I got my WrestleMania opponent here. I got the bitch I just beat here. They have squabble. It ain't directed at me. I'm going to shut up. And I'm going to let them just have it out. Right? And if I have to get physically involved, like if something's coming out my way, I'm going to catch hands. Well, then I'm going to beat a bitch's ass.
Yeah.
Right?
I think she wanted to, interject and tell Rhea, hey, you're not my opponent for Mania. She is.
But then stomping around like a child, and I don't know. It wasn't a good look for me for Io. I like the premise. I like what they were trying to do.
I was about to say, I don't blame Io because, if I get pushed a couple times and then knocked down, I'm going to get pissed off.
Back up again. They're never going to keep me down. I get knocked down.
I'm going to get pissed off. I'm going to stomp around like a little child, and then I'm going to start yelling. Actually, more like instead of yelling, I'm just going to start beating face, but still, either way.
So much but I don't know. It wasn't, and then not her saying all that, rattling off stuff in Spanish, and not Spanish, in Japanese, and not having like the microphone in her hand, and us not really able to hear. Granted, we wouldn't have been able to understand it, but every couple words you picked up, you could hear like champion and different things. So I don't know if she was spouting off in Japanese.
So I think she was, because when Michael Cole did that little small quick interview, it was all English, and you could tell she would have done English with Rhea and Bianca if they'd actually let her interject. But she's so pissed off, her brain decided to just Japanese. Go off in Japanese and be, no English. Screw it. I'm pissed off.
Yeah. So definitely, I don't know. It was unique. I think they're gonna set up, and it's gonna
another triple threat.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I want Naomi in that. I really like
Naomi. You mean Bianca?
Bianca. I really like Bianca in the Jade Naomi. I wish she was more involved there, because Jade hasn't said anything. Jade's just come out and whooped her ass. I do think that Naomi and Bianca put on a hell of a promo on Friday.
Mm-hmm.
Right? It felt very real. There was great emotion there.
Same as the emotion that was in the chamber. It looked and felt real.
I just don't know. Like, again, this is another one where, like, okay, Jade, you can only beat her up so many times before you start saying something.
Correct.
Right? Say anything. Do you know what I mean?
I mean, after Friday, it's like she beat her down so bad. It's like she got her revenge. She's done. The way she was just standing there looking and talking, like, okay, so did she get what she wanted, and now she's done with Naomi?
Uh-huh.
Or are we actually going to keep this going?
I think this builds to a WrestleMania match, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
But that's what I'm saying. I think the WrestleMania match would have been better had Bianca been in it. Because I think Bianca, again, should have a bigger role here. I think that Bianca had a hand in the attack, right? Like, when Naomi said, I did it for you, it was a callback to, I did it for The Rock.
All in the same family. That's the crazy
part.
For
the people. Exactly. Right? So it's definitely something that I would have, like the higher power kind of thing too. Bianca was the one pulling the strings on Naomi.
Yeah.
She's the one that put it in her head and all this, that, and the other thing. Never thinking that Naomi actually had the guts to do it. So now you've turned Bianca and got Naomi pissed off at her too for saying that she's cowardly. And it builds a great way to have all three of these women go at it and at WrestleMania. Because I don't think Jade Naomi puts butts in the seats.
Maybe Jade.
At least not right now. Right? Mm-hmm. We have a lot of things in their infancy, and until I see more, I'm not excited about some of them. Logan Paul, AJ Styles, that's going to be a WrestleMania match. The segment was great with Logan Paul tonight until he started walking away and AJ was calling him out. That whole bit right there, I don't know if Logan just was like, nah, I'm not turning around and entertaining this at all. And AJ just kind of ad-libbed on the fly. I don't know. I didn't like it. Per se. I liked everything up to that part. I shouldn't say I didn't like it. I thought Logan did a great job. I think
it's a good start to kick off, a match for them to at WrestleMania. Instead
the celebrity who I have no idea who the hell he is, and I don't honestly care. I loved the call out. Like, no one's here to see you, Logan.
We're not in your hometown,
right? Like, and I loved that. I even love the fact that he was willing to let Logan toss him around for a little bit.
Yeah.
Right? I was okay with that too.
Like I said, I think it's a good start to this rivalry, a good start to, because everybody else has gotten physical so far in the starts of their matches. So, why not do some trash talking, walking away, typical stuff, and then build up to, beating down each other and then calling each other out for our match at WrestleMania.
Yeah.
Just a little something different. That's all I ask.
Yeah, other than that, like, there's, Roxanne is going to be Lyra's new opponent. She's Roxanne's a new contender. Raquel. Why do I keep saying Raquel? I have NXT Roadblocks page up here, the match card, because we're going to talk about that in a little bit. And out of the corner of my eye, I can see Roxanne Perez, like the name.
Yeah.
So it's just there. Raquel is a new number one contender for Lyra's Intercontinental title. We saw Alpha Academy telling Jay that it'll never happen again. He's going to get, double teamed and beaten down because A-Town Down Under beat him up after he beat Grayson Waller, and then Gunther appeared and, laid him out. I do need to see Jay get the upper hand over Gunther. Like, now we have to start kind of turning that tide. Beating down Jay is getting old.
Mm-hmm. Especially this far out from WrestleMania.
Yeah. What else? I don't care about the Chad Gable bit, because although the interview was cool with him and Kathy Kelly, I didn't hate that. But I didn't care that he is in a lucha mask. Whatever.
Woo.
Yeah. I think that's really it.
Raw, yeah.
Yeah, as far as Raw goes, it was a good show. Like, it's always a good show in Madison Square Garden, right?
Yes.
The MSG shows always end well, whether it's a PLE or a pay-per-view or a Raw, SmackDown, and NXT. I'm very excited for NXT tomorrow because it is NXT's first time in the Garden, and I think they're going to do great things there. So let's get right into it. Let's get into, NXT Roadblock, Jordynne Grace versus Roxanne Perez. Basic match.
Basic beatdown.
And I think Jordynne beats her down and Roxanne finally transitions up to the main roster.
I agree.
Right? There's nothing left for her to do down there. She doesn't need it. Not warranted.
Just get shipped out to Raw or SmackDown on a stretcher. Bye.
Mm-hmm.
Because we know it's going to be a hell of a beatdown from Jordynne Grace.
Yeah, well, I don't think it's going to be that bad of a beatdown to where it's going to require a stretcher.
I get it. It was just meant more as a joke,
Yeah. But Jordynne Grace absolutely takes the win here.
The dub.
Siobhan Evans versus Ethan Page. I thought this match was supposed to be an underground match. It's on here. It says a New York street fight.
Huh? I thought it was underground too. Or are we thinking about the wrong match?
No. On March 4th, NXT General Manager Ava announced that a rematch between Evans and Page would take place at Roadblock in the New York street fight. Maybe they changed it. I don't know.
No, I think somebody else got called out for the underground match.
Who cares? Either way, these two, I think Javon Evans takes the win here. I think he needs to kind of rebuild some of that momentum he had towards the end of last year. End of the summer, early part of, fourth quarter of last year.
Mm-hmm.
And make a play for either the North American Championship or the NXT Championship. It's time to put a belt on this kid.
Yeah. So real quick, it's actually next week, next Tuesday. It is Trick Williams.
That's right. It was
versus
Trick.
Eddie Thorpe in the underground match.
That's right. It was Trick.
I had to look it up real quick because it was bugging me.
Yeah, that's right. I
feel like
Ethan Page and Eddie Thorpe, I get them confused.
Yeah. But I feel like Javon Evans is going to get the W on this one finally.
Has to. Here's a match I'm excited for, but I'm not excited for because, unfortunately, I'm like 90% certain of how the outcome's going to go. The winner-take-all match for the NXT Women's Championship and the NXT Women's North American Championship.
Yep.
Giulia versus Stephanie Vaquer. One, I don't know. I don't like if they're going to unify. What I'm hearing is right. They're going to unify the titles because I don't think it's the right call to unify the NXT women right after you debuted an Intercontinental and a United States title for them.
They're not unifying the titles.
I don't. Normally, I'm big on unification, but this one I'm not. But we know that Giulia's hurt.
Injured. Yes.
Yeah. We know that Giulia's hurt, and that's why, I'm not as excited for this match as I probably would be because these two have had knockdown dragouts in New Japan, and I think they still will, but we know that Stephanie's going to take the win here and start pulling double duty for these 2 titles.
Mm-hmm.
While Giulia takes some time off and is hopefully ready to come back before Stand and Deliver. The Hardy Boyz versus Nathan Frazier and Axiom for the TNA World Tag Team Championships. The Hardy Boyz are the TNA Tag Champions. The Frazier and Axiom are the NXT Tag Team Champions. When I tell you I am over these 2 being the NXT Tag Team Champions, we have teased this. Will they, won't they break up and lose the titles, and then break up longer than we did Sasha and fucking Bailey. Jesus H. And I've never met 2 incredible wrestlers with just absolute dog water personalities.
They just want to teamed up.
Like Damian Priest was a bottle of vanilla extract back in the NXT days. Mm-hmm. I know because I called him that.
Yep.
These guys are like the vanilla sticks that you use to make the vanilla extract.
Damn.
Like, they're great in the ring. I can't fault that, but Jesus Christ, they're boring. I would rather watch paint dry.
Ooh, no
Better yet, I'll go watch AEW Revolution.
No.
Yeah, you want to talk about a show that pissed me off?
With a dog shit ending, yes.
Awful.
But we can save Cope.
I think because of what I think is going to happen in the NXT Championship match, I think Frazier and Axiom beat the Hardys here.
Mm-hmm.
Because you're not going to tell me that both TNA guys go over, because I have Moose beating Oba Femi and taking that NXT Championship to TNA with him.
Ooh, yeah.
Trade-off, right? We'll keep the TNA World Tag Team Championships. Mm-hmm. You take the NXT Championship, and we'll start sending guys over there, and your guys can fight for it and different things like that.
And now you have Fraxium as double champion.
Right? And now Fraxium's doing double duty. Moose is doing double duty. Right? You have Stephanie doing double duty. You have a lot of these people doing double duty. And you're almost telling the rest of your locker room, step up. Right?
Well, that, and you got Cora Jade versus Masha here soon.
Yeah, that's going to be in a few weeks, I think, isn't it?
I think so. So you've got that match coming up that could potentially mean Cora being, the Knockouts Women Champion. Luckily, she ain't injured from last week. She just, she said she was good. Just,
Who? Cora?
Yeah, got knocked for a little doozy last week.
Yeah, I saw that.
She's like, thankfully it wasn't my knees. Masha versus Cora.
Yeah, I don't know what it is. I can't find it. I'm also not looking that hard.
What does it say? I think I might have found it. At Sacrifice, March 14th, this Saturday.
Okay. So it's not a pay-per-view, it's just an event for them.
No, I'm sorry, that's Friday. Friday, March 14th, the day after my birthday.
Oh. Is that a small plug that your birthday is this week? Should I care about that?
No. That wasn't a plug. I was just saying.
I'm sorry. I'm a dick.
When aren't you?
Fair point. Fair point. God, I remember when Sacrifice was actually like a pay-per-view for them.
I mean, with it being on a Friday right after their normal day, it technically is a pay-per-view. They just have their pay-per-views on Fridays.
No, like if you look at
I get what you're saying. Old school TNA.
Yeah. Like this is just gonna. So that's actually got a hell of a card for it. Cora Jade's wrestling for the title there. The Rascals are gonna take on Wesley, Tyson DuPont, and Tyreek.
Okay.
Not who I thought that was.
These guys. Moose versus Jeff. Tessa versus.
Which will be interesting if Moose loses the title to Jeff Hardy.
Oh, the X Division title?
Yeah.
Win the NXT but lose the X Division? I could see it. I'd be fine with that.
So, and then you've got Joe Hendry, Matt Hardy. It's weird that Matt and Jeff, they're the tag teams champions, but they're doing two different things that night. Not even together.
That is kind of weird, but I mean, Moose ain't with his boys, the system, so.
Yeah, I didn't say it made sense, so.
It's TNA.
Yeah.
I still love it. I've been watching it since the 2004.
I used to watch it back in the day, man. I remember.
It was so great back in the day.
I remember it being on at like 1 o'clock in the morning. This is the Asylum days. On FS1, they had the timer at the top. So like how we have the ticker at the bottom.
Yeah.
They had a timer at the top, almost like a scoreboard. And it would just show who's in the ring.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
I remember TNA had the rule that title matches that ended as qualification still changed hands.
I remember that. I remember being in awe of the 6-sided ring of X Division matches.
I remember the debut of Samoa Joe, Christian, Kurt Angle.
Yep. I remember. I love that they had two different tunnels.
Yes.
They had the heel tunnel and the face tunnel.
Yes.
On different sides.
Not side by side like AEW does. One on each end.
Well, they eventually went to the side by side for a little bit. But
I preferred the one on each end.
So did I, especially when Jim Cornette was there and he was like their authority figure and he did the town halls. Like I'll still go back to this day, and I may do it when we get off the air here. And watch. There's one Jim Cornette does a town hall and he disbands like the Canadians and he starts doing all and it's such a great. It's Jim Cornette at his finest as far as on air wrestling goes.
Talking about too.
And then you had the main event Mafia, Aces and Eights. The Aces and Eights storyline might go down to this day, like the build up to that and the reveal of Bubba Ray Dudley, being Bully Ray as the bad guy in the cage, turning on Hogan, right? The reveal of Devon. And I mean, kind of when they revealed Devon, you kind of thought, all right, Bubba's got to be a part of this somehow, right?
Yeah, even though Bubba was shocked, oh my God, Devon's a part of it.
Yeah, like looking back on it, but I remember everything leading up to it and how, like, you wanted to see these guys get their asses handed to them. And all the brawls. I remember the one brawl, it literally went all over Universal Studios outside. And it was crazy when I was there back in March of 23 and we took a tour, a VIP tour. At one point during the tour, they walk you through the sound stages. And at one point, we're in like a main building and they're pointing out TNA stuff because the owner of the old travel agency I was with, she told the tour guy I was a big wrestling fan because I mentioned it. I was like, ooh, I wonder if we'll see wrestlers walking around. Because at the time, AEW was filming a couple things there.
Mm-hmm.
They just started filming there. And so like, ooh, I wonder. And so he pointed out all this wrestling stuff. And then as we were walking, I asked him if we could just stop for a second because I saw the sound stage. I mean, we weren't allowed to take pictures or anything in that because it's considered a backstage area. But I saw AEW soundstage. And then I also could see where a lot of those fights would take place outside the soundstage. Like you could, I just stood there for like maybe 2 seconds and just did one of these and would see all the fights. And so that was really cool to be able to go and see that. And a lot of that was because of Aces and Eights. Like a lot of those fights, a lot of those brawls, took place out there. Main Event Mafia.
One of the best factions of all time in TNA.
I liked it better, though, the second time when they came back to take out Aces and Eights.
Yes. AJ Styles joining, the night that AJ Styles joined, his music, starts up. The bad guy music starts up, and then Ready to Fly hits, and he just hits the ring, and it's like, I'm getting
the brawl
now
starts.
like I did then.
And, like, what I didn't like about the first Main Event Mafia run was after a while you could tell the egos were kind of like, and I get it, it was part of the story, but I didn't like that the egos were getting in the way. It almost felt all of a sudden now the egos are getting in the way. Like this feels very NWO-esque, like as far as we can't tell who's with them, who's not with them, who's gonna fight them, who's not, right? Yep. Like I just didn't like it. I didn't like Samoa Joe's look during that time. I think they made him look stupid.
Oh, with the face tattoo?
Made him look dumb. Kevin Nash was awful.
Surprise.
I loved when they brought it back and you had Sting and Angle kind of back on that same page.
Yep.
Right? And then you brought in AJ Styles, you brought in Samoa Joe, and that reveal on the stage that Angle was back in the suit against Sting, with Sting, and he locks Bully Ray up in the ankle lock, and they go dark with Mike Tenay shouting, "The Main Event Mafia is back," or whatever he says, like that last little line. It's crazy when you think about it now. There's some really iconic TNA moments from like 2006 to about 2015, 2016.
I'd say start around 2004, 2005, and then go there.
I don't think there's too many there. Right? If you actually start like dating them, I think other than like the first ever show in the Asylum, right? I don't think any of that stuff still has the same weight that it does as the stuff once they went into Universal Studios.
What, like, Ken Shamrock being one of their first champions, Toby Keith winning the championship at one point.
Well, Toby Keith hitting the suplex. Like some of that stuff just it's cool, right? But it was nowhere near iconic to like AJ Styles. I don't think AJ Styles' first title win was in the Asylum. I think by that point they were in Universal Studios.
R-Truth being the first, African American NWA World Champion.
Was that in the Asylum?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
What a weird career he's had.
Such a great career, but you are right. It has been a weird career for this man.
What a weird, like I would one day, and I don't know if we'll do it anytime soon, but we should make it a point to talk about that man's career. Like if we actually sat down and looked from when he started as K-Quick. Yeah, I remember those days.
With good old Road Dogg.
To go into TNA, to being Ron Killings, to being part of the VKM, to not being a part of the VKM, to leaving, to coming to WWE, like all the, and then the 55 24/7 championship wins in the course of like 3 weeks. Right? Like just all the weird, the
most decorated WWE champion of all time.
Yeah, like screw your 17. Beat this 55 over here. Like I thought they played hot potato with the title between Charlotte and Sasha. No. Let me introduce you to my friend R-Truth.
What's crazy is most people don't even have but a couple wins with that title, and this man's over here taking it from 55 flipping times.
And then it's like, you know, I'm going to enter the Royal Rumble. We're talking about Money in the Bank, and you're not even in the match. Go away.
We're entering the Royal Rumble with a ladder, reaching for an invisible Money in the Bank.
We're trying to be in the Women's Royal Rumble, referring to DIY as DX, referring to DX as DIY. Looking at Damian Priest. Sorry, I got you kicked out of the Judgment Day.
Oh, this man is a national treasure. Protect him at all costs.
Making Brock Lesnar laugh in the ring.
That's a rare breed right there. When you can make Lesnar laugh in the middle of the ring.
Yeah, like it's just something. Little Jimmy. I mean, Jesus, the little Jimmy.
I miss little Jimmy.
Did you hear the call out a few weeks ago? Is he talking to little? I think it was Wade Barrett or Corey Graves. Is he talking to little Jimmy again?
No, I missed that one, I guess.
When he came out in the old school army outfit with the damn sword and everything was phenomenal.
Oh, the Civil War outfit.
Yes, the Civil War, the Confederate outfit, I think. And then when him and The Miz did, right before they did Awesome Truth, and they attacked at Hell in a Cell, and they got taken out in cuffs, and Triple H beat the brakes off of them while they were cuffed.
The more serious version of R-Truth that we've ever had.
Yeah, it was the man's a genius. I'm sorry.
To be in the WWE this long and still kicking with somewhat the same gimmick and nobody.
But you literally just leaned a senile old man.
Yeah. And everybody loves it. Nobody hates it. Everybody loves it.
Phenomenal. But I'm not even bringing up AEW. I don't want to talk about them. They suck.
Please don't.
I got nothing else. Do you have anything else?
Nope.
All right. Well, that's it for us. We'll be back next week. Hopefully Pete Evans will be back with us. You know, we send our thoughts and our prayers to him. Send him a lot of love. And I'll say it like I do every single day. Until next time, tell somebody you love them. We're out.